Hello, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Beyond the Pitch. I'm Kristian Jack. My guest today is midfielder Liam Fraser, who joins us from Ghent in Belgium, where he's currently playing for Deinze in the second tier and playing very meaningful minutes. He's fresh after drawing an outstanding game of 3-3 on Sunday, and you can tell in his voice that he's loving playing every minute of play for Deinze right now. He's also really enjoying playing a lot of significant minutes for the Canadian men's national team. He is my next guest on what has been a long series of players who have joined us from that fantastic team in their journey for Qatar 2022. If you've missed it, you can see on our playlist, we've been joined by the likes of Marc-Anthony Kaye, Jonathan Osorio, Samuel Piette, Maxime Crepeau, Atiba Hutchinson, Tejon Buchanan, and many others. I hope that you can go back and enjoy them. The purpose of this is really to get to know the player away from the pitch, and I hope that after watching and listening to this, you'll have a new appreciation for Liam today. Liam talks a lot about his journey as a kid and his love for his football with his relationship with his parents, how he went from Toronto to Vancouver and back to Toronto, how it didn't really go well for him at his dream club at Toronto FC, how he looks back with fond memories, and how he still continues to love that club and Columbus Crew, by the way, who he played for last season in Major League Soccer under Caleb Porter. He talks about his journey as a midfielder, how he gets better. We also talk about that pass, and yes, you know that one, to Jonathan David in the World Cup qualifiers, about what it's like to come on the pitch when he played a massive minutes for Canada against the United States in that game at BMO back in 2019. It is a fascinating chat. He is a remarkable young man, still only 24, and one of the best young midfielders we have in our country. Without further ado, here is my chat with Liam Fraser. I hope you enjoy it. Delighted now to be joined on Beyond the Pitch by a good friend of mine and an outstanding young player playing in Belgium right now, Canadian international Liam Fraser. Liam, great to see you, my man. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, KJ. Thanks for having me on the show. I'm excited to talk with a great person and a mate and share some experiences over here and hopefully learn a little bit from you right now. So I'm excited to be here.
I'll learn a lot from you as well. This is great chat, and I've had a lot of your teammates on, so I'm glad to have you on as well on this amazing series. We're going to talk about Canada as well. But you're joining us from Belgium, where you just played last night. I know we were just talking before we recorded it, a remarkable 3-3 game. But you're playing every minute right now for Deinze in the second division in Belgium. How's the experience going, my man, and how much fun are you having over there right now?
Yeah, listen, I think I knew what I was getting myself into when I came here, which was where I'm living now in Ghent is a city full of football, and that's exactly what I wanted. I remember last year when I was in Columbus, I was speaking to my dad, and I said, yeah, Columbus it's an awesome city, amazing, but for me, it's just not for me. It's a bit small, and my dad said to me, well, he goes, well, if you go to Europe, the chances that you live in like a small city or in a small town are that's what you're going to be living in. And I said, yeah, but the difference is that the city is going to be just embraced in football, and my dad said, oh, that's true, that's what the difference is. So that's exactly what I've been able to experience in the culture here. Even at the training grounds, everything's about football as it should be, and there's no pro days for players. There's no time when you can slack off and kind of get away with it, which I don't think ever should be. So to be able to kind of embrace that new culture and is something that I've always wanted, and I'm really, really happy to be here and kind of start my career here in Europe.
Yeah, I'm really happy for you too. And it's a place where I can see that you've got a lot of comfort. In all our discussions with you, I always felt like you were almost a European at heart anyway. Do you know what I mean? In terms of where you wanted to be. Maybe you can just take our viewers and listeners through that a little bit. Your relationship with your dad, I know, is really, really strong. Almost like your best mate, really, in a sense of being the confidant. But, all the time when you grew up in Canada, like talk us into how that relationship evolved in soccer and when you really found out that you love the game.
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Toronto, and I was playing. We moved to Kitchener, so I was playing in Kitchener and Waterloo for a few of my youth years, very young. And then my dad had a job opportunity in Vancouver, so we moved out to Vancouver for I think 7-8 years. And over there, I was kind of like a dual athlete. I was playing hockey, I was playing soccer, and then I think as soon as that like 13, 14-year-old age came, it was kind of where your time priority lays. And for me, it was always just football. And then that's what I wanted to be the best at. That's what I was putting extra work in. That's kind of where my headspace was. And obviously my dad was a big advocate for that as well. So in 2013, my dad kind of just got the reverse role of a job opportunity in Toronto. So we moved back to the city, and right away I was embraced by TFC and was able to go through that pathway from the academy to the USL team to the first team, and obviously had 3 or 4 years with the first team, and now I'm out here in Europe. But I think having a role model like my dad and an advocate like my mom who more than anything would just said, just do what you want to be happy and but be the best at it. Don't just be happy and not be great at it. Just do everything you can to be the best. And I think having two people like that in my life who continued to make me want to strive to be the best is something that always pushed me to love football and the competitiveness of it, and to want to reach the top and to represent your country. So they're just two awesome people that have really shaped the way I think I am today.
Yeah, they deserve a ton of credit with you, my man. Listen, a lot of young players watch this as well, and a lot of people, when I've talked about this with Canadian players, is you guys are all very different. But I think one thing that really bonds all of you in the Canadian men's national team is that you've all had that moment in your career, many moments sometimes, where people have said to you, "You're not going to make it," or "You're not going to come through this," and you've come through adversity. Right? It's not been a straight line from A to B to get to C kind of thing for you. How do you look back at Toronto in your time there? Obviously, a club that was very close to your heart. When you got chances, you excelled, but chances sometimes were few and far between. How do you look back on that, and how was that for your mindset in terms of getting you mentally stronger?
Yeah, listen, like as rough as the last few years were with the club, it's still my hometown. I love them. I've watched the games that they've played so far. I've watched them all, and I'm texting the guys every game you could only imagine, and just always giving my support and my love for the club. It's always a disappointment when things don't work out, but I'm very hopeful that something in the far future can happen where I can come back and I can play that role that I want to play with the club. So it'll be like that. I hope. But with that said, I think there's moments in your career, like you said, that define you as a footballer and define you when you are at your lowest or when you're going through struggles. For me, I think it was just having great people around you, to like yourself, like Stevie Caldwell, like obviously my family and close friends to pull you out of those moments and to kind of show you there's always light at the end of the tunnel. I think that's important, but I think at the end of the day, you have to have your own mental capacity to be able to get through it. There's got to be a switch inside your head and saying, "Hey, I'm doing this for a bigger purpose. I know I'm an excellent footballer and I can play." So to keep that in the back of your head when you aren't getting chances and when things are looking down, to keep working and to keep pushing yourself and not get down is truly probably the biggest thing I would ever say to young footballers who are going through a bit of that slump.
Fantastic advice. You've still played a lot of big games already. You played some big games with CFC, CanPL's Cup with Columbus, and we're going to get to your Canadian men's national team as well. But when you made that decision to go to Columbus for the last part of your MLS time there, what was that like? What did you learn about? I know you talked about the city, but about yourself and working for an organization like TFC that really winning only matters, and for a coach like Caleb Porter.
Yeah, listen, like if I'm honest with you, I was pushing for a loan for probably the first or second year that I came to TFC. All I wanted to do was get minutes, week in and week out, and then finally, after a few rough patches with in that final year with TFC in the first couple months, it was just the writing was on the wall. So when I went in and pushed and went through it, for me it was more just a breath of fresh air. I got to go somewhere where they wanted me. That was a big thing for me. They said, "Hey, we want you to be playing games. We want to develop you. We want you to help us win games." That was a huge thing. But to be coached by Caleb, and he's a winner. I think that's the only thing I would kind of describe him as. He will do whatever it takes, and he's willing to hurt feelings. He's willing to do whatever it takes to win games for the club. And I think to have a guy like that as kind of like the head of the organization, you obviously there's more, but at the head of the organization is is so important for clubs who want to succeed in MLS and in football.
Yeah, great stuff. How did you get better as a midfielder during your time there before you went to Belgium? Like those minutes that you talk about that you're always craving, how big were they for you as a midfielder to gain your confidence? What kind of things did you notice about your game that you were able to do then that you weren't going to be able to do if you weren't playing as often?
Yeah, I just think game repetition, having moments when there's pressure on you, whether it be learning to turn with a ball that's been played for you from the back line, or to keep up with the play, or to be able to follow, man. These are all things that you can't just train. You need those minutes to be able to improve on them. And Columbus was that out for me. That they gave me that. As a midfielder, what I think I got better, I think just being able to penetrate with passes. I think that's always something that I've been good at, but something I've always wanted to be improving, whether it be turning from the back line, taking a few dribbles, and finding something when the space opened up. But like I said, I just think you need those minutes. It's so difficult to do all the individual or group training you want to do. It only gets you kind of so far. You need those minutes to be able to really test yourself under fast pace. So I'm always grateful for Columbus and what they did for me. And if I'm honest, I watch their games too. So it's nice to be able to support two of my former teams in MLS and still be able to talk to those guys as well.
Says a lot about you as well, by the way. Every credit to you that you still got those in your heart, those two teams. And talk about penetration passes. We're going to talk about that pass for Jay David shortly. Trust me, it's coming up. But what about this Canada team then? Obviously, it's unbelievably special. It's clear that the camaraderie is real when I talk to so many of you on the record and off the record. How has this campaign been as we get you set to the last three games? How much of a blast are you having here, almost playing with your mate?
I said to someone a couple of days ago, it's hard to put stuff like this into words. It's more just you have to, when you're in the moment, then you understand how you feel. So just games that we've won and games that we've kind of dug ourselves in a hole and then we got ourselves out and be able to get a result. I think those moments like Azteca, we feel like we should have won, but still getting a result. Beating US here, beating Honduras away, beating El Salvador away. These moments are just so meaningful to us and to the nation. So whenever I get the call, or whenever obviously all the lads get the call, it's something that you can't even put into an emotion about how excited you are and just how honored you are to be able to represent your country, to represent your family, to represent your friends and your brothers. And it's honestly just such an incredible feeling.
Whenever I talk to a lot of players about the belief, quite a few players talk about that day at BMO Field in 2019 when you beat the US. And that day is very particularly important for you because your first major chance, right? You know, talk us through it. You're on the bench. Marc-Anthony Kaye gets injured in the first 5 minutes, and then suddenly next man up, and you get the chance, and you were brilliant that day. What's that moment like that day when you finally got that chance to put on that shirt in a meaningful match?
I think I was at probably like 5 or 6 camps before when I wasn't cracking the lineup or wasn't getting subbed on. So there's a bit of that in your head, kind of just when you're going to get your chance, when you're going to get your chance. But John and Mauro and the coaching staff that was there just continues to put positive reinforcement and positive feedback in your head that say just be patient, you keep playing good, you'll get your chance. And fortunately for me and unfortunately for Mark, that was my chance. And I would like to say I capitalized on it and was able to kind of kick off my national team career from that game. So initially when my name was called to go on, obviously there's a bit of jitters and a bit of nervousness. But I think you've probably heard this from a lot of footballers. At the end of the day, it's you try to play the game, not the occasion. So as soon as you get subbed into the game, the hoorah is nice and you're excited. But at the end of the day, you have a game to win. So my mentality was, hey, listen, I'm playing now. I'm expected to do a job and we're expected to win this game. So everything I can do, it has to happen now. And every every little chirp or whatever prior to that of me coming on is out the window now. We just got to perform and do what has to be done.
And what's that feeling like, Liam, when you know you win a massive game like that and you contribute rather than being a little bit more of a peripheral player?
It's incredible. I mean, for me, as happy I was for my own performance, it was just a huge step forward for Canada. Like you said, I think that was definitely a kickoff moment for our country and for the belief of our country. And as well, I think a huge part of it for me was having my family there and the people that I love there to experience that moment with me in Toronto against the US. And at the end of the day, it was just an awesome feeling, and it was a great kind of kickstart to where we are now.
And the Canada-US games carried on from there, and they've been big for you, by the way. You played in the Gold Cup game when I know you didn't win the game, but 29 seconds in or something that you concede the goal, and you absolutely destroyed them after that with possession. And then you play again in Hamilton. What are those moments like for you as you think about those recaps?
I think I heard Greg Berhalter recently say something about if it's a rivalry or not, or whatever it may be. But I think there in big games when it's meaningful matches and they really mean something. I don't think you could ever say that this team has not come and proven that this is a very, very big rivalry and that we're here. That we truly believe we're the best team in CONCACAF and have the ability every game and every opportunity we have to show that. So for me to get the opportunity to play in those games and to test myself against players on US who are playing in big clubs and in big tournaments and even play with guys on my team who are doing the same thing. It's first and foremost an honor to do it. But second of all, it's encouraging to me to say, hey, I'm playing, I'm thriving. I have a higher ceiling I can push now, and I just want to become the best footballer I can be.
You mentioned the game at BMO when you had an amazing impact on that in 2019. That was my words. I know you won't say that, but then I think about Honduras away. I think about coming on in Hamilton. A favorite, one of the most famous rugby coaches I know, and I've read his book, he's an inspiration, is Eddie Jones. And he never talks about starters and subs anymore. He just talks about it as a team and everybody's got a role. And he knows that, basically the guy that he puts on in the 50th minute is just as important for him than the guy who starts. How is that mentality for you? Because I know as a sub, when there's a lot of substitutes there, you don't know for sure if you're going to come on. You don't know how the game is going to play out. But how important is it for you when you take that seat and the whistle blows that you have that mentality right away? You can come in minute 5, you can come out in minute 90, or you come in minute 50, and you have to impact the game right away.
Yeah, I mean, I think I've had that probably experience more than a lot of other players in terms of getting the call earlier in games, whether it be an injury to one of my players or a tactical sub. I think if I haven't learned by now that you have to be ready on the bench right away, then I'm doing something wrong. But no, I think ever since that game when it was an early call for me, it's kind of just, hey, despite not me starting the game, who knows? I might be on in the first 5-10 minutes, and again, I got to play a part to win this game. I don't think there's a game now where you can be a passenger. You have to be someone who impacts the game at every moment that you can, because if you don't, you won't play. You won't even get called. So to be ready and to be more mentally ready than anything to be able to play in those games early on if you get called on, it is so important. And I think I've done a good job in being able to realize that.
And so take us through a little bit, Liam, on those games you're coming on. What are the things that coaches take you through? What are they showing you? Is it some defensive things at set pieces? Is it making sure that you're aware of who's still playing in midfield? Because you're watching, you just got mentally ready. You're also watching the game. You're aware of the tactics and who's playing on the other team. It's not like you've just been transported away from a dressing room right into the pitch. But talk us through what are some of the things in the analysis that is pushed through your brain before you go on the pitch?
Yeah, I think more from like a tactic standpoint, probably just a tactic standpoint. You already kind of know. You've had trainings leading up to it. You've prepped. You're aware of the situation where you're supposed to be, where you can anticipate the opposition to be. Like you said, I think it is very important that you're watching the game so you can see, hey, their midfield is playing in this formation. So maybe a better idea is if we do X. So you have to be paying attention to the game. It's not just a kickabout with your mates where you can be sitting there talking and joking anymore. The level is so high and the stakes are so high where you have to be focused even on the bench. But usually when you're about to go on is just getting the kind of last second kind of, hey, this is where you are for defensive set pieces. This is who you're marking for attacking or here. And then the final words from the gaff are usually just like, hey, you have to make an impact right now. This is what we need you to do. Go do it. If there's any last minute instructions for other player or last minute formation changes, then he'll let you know. But usually it's just, hey, you have to make an impact. We need you to go in and we need you to play a role. So go do it.
Talking about making an impact, let's talk about that pass because it is one that many Canadians were loving, and I know we all love the Jonathan David goal as well. But what do you remember about the play? How do you anticipate it? And then how sweet did that ball feel when you let go of it?
Yeah, well, we were leading 1-0 at the time, so I remember initially at halftime we were sitting in the room and even at the start of the second half, I was like, these guys they have to start pushing all their numbers forward. I mean, they need to try scoring if they want to be able to stay in this competition. So when I think it was either Tejan or Sam who won the ball and someone played it to me, I had an intuition that their line was gonna be really high, and fortunately they were before half, and so was Jono, so I knew they were gonna be onside. So when I looked up and saw him running through, it was just a good connection from me to him. But I forget who I was talking about this with. I think as good as I thought my pass was, I think the whole goal was surrounded by his first touch off his chest into his head. I think those are those two touches for me, just like they're just such an incredible millisecond thought process of what he has to do. And that totally just wraps around how incredible of a footballer he is and how high his ceiling is. I imagine something big happens for him in the summer, and I'll be really, really excited for him to have it in the summer. But like I said, I think as soon as that ball went in the net and there was a bit of relief among the whole team, just for us to be up 2, was absolutely awesome.
Yeah, it was a great moment for Canadian soccer, no doubt. One of my favorite moments also about that goal is I think it's Jonathan Osorio just goes nuts to you right after the ball. Like, we know also and how brilliant his tactical brain is, but like Jonathan David just scores one of the most unbelievable individual goals you're ever going to see Canadian score. And Osorio just goes crazy as like his mouth wide open running to you. What was that like?
No, also, and I have such an incredible friendship. He's like a big brother to me. So I know he knows how hard I work and how dedicated I am to the team and to the process. So for him to come right to me for that just means a lot, and it shows a lot about his character and how truly incredible of a person and friend he is for me.
And how big is he a part of this team? People talk about the leadership core, but how big is he?
Huge. I don't think you can speak about Atiba, or you can speak about Milan, or speak about Steven Vittoria without putting also in that sentence. I mean, what he's done for the country in the football aspect, and what he's done for our national team is absolutely huge. And every big moment he's shown up at Azteca, he's shown up in big games, he shows up. So like I said, just to have a friend like him and to have a person I can look up to on a national team like that is awesome. And it's just been incredible to kind of go through this whole 4-year process with him from the start.
A couple more for you, and then we'll just quickly finish on a rapid round, if you don't mind, mate. But
Perfect.
What would it mean to you, Liam Fraser, for Canada to qualify for the World Cup?
Yeah, I think it would be. Like I said before, I don't think you put into words. I think that moment when it's sealed and done, I think that's something that would resonate with you for the rest of your life. There's obviously a huge difference of being granted a spot in the World Cup as opposed to you earning a spot in the World Cup. So for us to look back on the journey that we've had and where we came from to where we are now, to kind of put an end to the misery of the World Cup drought, and to say I've been a part of that and to play a part in that is probably one of the most special feelings I'll ever feel in my whole life. Just not as a footballer, just as a human being. So if that time comes when we do qualify, and I'm hoping it comes real soon, then it's definitely something that I'll remember for the rest of my life.
And then what will be the plan for you in 2022? Obviously, you have a multi-year deal in Belgium at Deinze. What's that been like with the real culture of football on a day-to-day basis, and how is that making you a better player? And what are your plans, hopefully, for playing regularly in Europe to try and secure that spot to Qatar?
Yeah, listen, I think my initial goal here was to come to Europe and then get as many minutes as I could and try to get under the spotlight. And if I'm honest, that's exactly what I've done. I've been playing really well, and obviously it deemed a spot on this next roster with the national team. So it's exactly what I wanted to do. For me now, I want to be continuing my journey in Europe, and then I want to be wherever I will grow the highest and the fastest as a professional footballer. So if that's here in Deinze, amazing. If that's not, if that's somewhere else, then that's exactly where I want to be. So just continuing to get minutes week in and week out is going to be a huge part in me getting selected if we qualify, as well as playing at a high level. So like I said, just wherever I am to be the best footballer and to reach a higher potential, exactly where I want to be.
Fantastic attitude as ever. All right, a couple of rapid fire questions before I let you go. Apart from family, what is it about Canada, or is there anything in Canada you miss the most?
Just Toronto, the city. I love Toronto. Is the best place on earth. Like just the vibe of it, the coffee shops, the multiculturalism is something that I literally tell every single person here if they ask about Toronto. I just say it's the most multicultural place that I've been to and I've experienced. So I think definitely the city.
Which Toronto FC game that you played in do you find yourself thinking about more than anything else?
Oof, that's a good one. I might need to come back to that one. I can't. Maybe I made my home debut against Chicago. I think probably that. My family were there, and it was an amazing experience to play at BMO for the first time.
Great answer. What's your favorite stadium that you've ever played in?
My favorite stadium.
Putting you on your spot on some of these. I know.
Honestly, I'm not even being boring or whatever. I honestly say BMO. I think the vibe and the energy that the fans give you, it is so much different playing with the national team there than it is with Toronto there. And the experiences I've had there with the national team have been incredible. So I'd probably say BMO for that atmosphere.
Yeah, it's not boring. It's you. Your answers are right there. You can't go wrong. What stadium would you love to play in that you've not played in yet? Any stadium in world football?
Wembley. I think that's the absolute cathedral. And I think for someone who loves English football, I think it's just a no-brainer.
You're a really good football brain in midfield. When you play the game against teams, give me one or two names when you play against a player like, wow, he's one of the best players I've ever played against.
Last year, I had the opportunity to play with Deinze Midfielder, and this guy was incredible. His passing succession, and just his mentality for the game and what he was able to bring to every single game was absolutely incredible. He had the potential to take over matches. So probably he was one of them. And I got to give credit to this guy. I don't want to, but Weston McKennie, when we played him against this last game, he was incredible. He just has the poise in the game to put his foot on the ball and to be able to hold someone off and look for options. And in the game like that, I can understand why he plays for such a big club and why he's at where he's at. I thought he was excellent. So I never wanted to say an American player, but I got to be honest. I thought he was very, very good.
Yeah, good answer. One of my favorites. Another winner. It just carries teams over the line to get through it. Every credit to you. What's your cheat food, mate? When you're allowed to cheat, what do you like to eat?
Honestly, again, this is probably boring. I love peanut butter. So like peanut butter and jam sandwiches whenever I can after a match or something like that. That is 1000% where I'm going. Just the peanut butter and jam sandwich.
That's an easy answer too, by the way. You're over there on your own. You don't have to come home and cook anything. You just slap it on.
No, but if I'm honest with you, I like, since I'm living alone, I love to cook because like if I sit here and make something easy, it's about 5 minutes, make, eat, done. But if I cook something a bit more strategic, whether it be like in an oven, in a pan, I gotta heat something, the duration of it is probably like 2 hours by the time I cook, eat, and clean. So that takes up a bigger portion of my day. So that's what I want.
Exactly. Whatever it kills the time, I suppose.
Exactly.
Right. Yeah. A lot of downtime over there in Belgium. What are you What are you binge watching if you get time? What's your shows?
I just finished with my dad and I, because my dad came and visited me. We watched the Rooney documentary, which I thought was incredible.
Yep.
I know a new season of Top Boy is about to come out. And then I was watching Money Heist for a while.
Good stuff. Hey, listen, Liam, this has been amazing. An absolute brilliant chat, my man. It's great to see you over there. It's great to see you with a smile on your face. And more importantly, great to see you playing regular minutes for club and country. I'm so proud of you, and I can't thank you enough for your time you spent with me today.
Cheers, KJ. I appreciate you, pal. Thank you so much.
An enormous thanks to Liam once again, and I hope you really enjoyed that. I'm sure you got to know Liam a lot more over that half an hour as well. A real grounded guy, a guy that obviously just loves his football, loves playing, and you can tell that his enthusiasm is through the roof right now, getting significant minutes for Deinze and, of course, for Canada. Some great stories there. A player who really, I think, is a great example to a lot of young Canadians about perseverance. Doesn't always get the minutes, didn't even get called up, by the way, to the trip to Edmonton for those 2 games. Missed out on that opportunity to play there because he knows how competitive this midfield is. But the moment he came back, he got his chance, came on in Honduras, came on against the United States, and has been a pivotal player for this team ever since. My thanks to Liam again, to his family, and obviously all the luck in the world for him going forward with his career in Europe and, of course, with Canada. And Canada games are back. They're back this week as they get to play in Costa Rica and then play at home to Jamaica on Sunday, and, of course, returning with Panama away as the World Cup qualifying quest continues. Thank you again for watching this. I hope everybody is well. I hope you enjoyed this series. God bless. Take care of you and your families, and we'll chat soon.